I don't know. Well, with the work that I do, sometimes when I leave the nursing home and I'm just feeling the energy there of people towards the end of their life, and how sometimes I think when we're young, we'll think like, oh my God, these pathetic old people, like their life sucks. They're just alone all day, just sitting in their chair, just thinking and being losers. But when I actually feel the energy there, I think after living a long life and having a real human experience, and how you've literally been the one living life, like not even abstractly, like you've been fully in it, even if you don't want to be. It seems like they're just so exhausted, and I almost said ran through but like you just want to sit in a chair, and I think it's healing for them. Like they just want to be alone in their chair. And a lot of the times it made me start thinking today, a lot of people have survived into their old age, not even because they want to, but because the biological, like the hindbrain, our like reptile urge to survive is so fucking strong that even if they tried, they couldn't overpower it. And I think we'd be amazed. I also want to talk about how inherently traumatizing existence is. Like, I come across all kinds of disturbing shit all the time. And I was looking on YouTube today, and there's a suggested video about incest, emotional incest, how you'll never escape it, on my suggested fucking page. I just started thinking, like, no one wanted to be born. No one wanted to be squeezed out of their mother's vagina. No one wanted to give birth. No one wanted to go through that shit. No one wanted to have the powerlessness of infancy and toddlerhood and, well, a lot of phases of life. No one wanted to fucking go through that and get exploited and abused and all this shit. I think there's a reason we have infantile amnesia, where we don't even form memory, like long-term memories, until after the age of 3. I think if we remembered how traumatizing the powerlessness of infancy was, and how much and how often our vulnerability was exploited, we probably wouldn't have any sanity at all. And I spoke to a lady who I worked with in the nursing home like a week ago or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, and she was telling me she's had a really scary, traumatizing life and some disturbing shit that I wouldn't be able to live with. And she said that there's a lot of her life that she blocked out and she can't remember, and she doesn't want to remember. And then she told me, like, she was telling me how she's heavily religious. She's so religious. She won't hear a word otherwise. She's like one of those dogmatically religious people. Kind of disrespectfully religious. Like, this is the truth. Like, there's no variation. But I understand. Religion is one of those things that takes your power away from you. It takes your responsibility for yourself and your authority over your life away from you. So people will get into these messes, or they'll get it really deep into some trauma, and they'll forfeit their power. I'm not even saying that this is good or bad. This is just what I see happen. Life will just, it'll reach that point, and people will find solace and comfort into handing their power over their life to a deity. And most people, if not all, maybe 9 out of 10 people I've worked with who are in nursing homes are very religious, and they found religion. And to me, at 27, the thought of giving my personal power and control of my life, whether I live or die, or what my soul is going to do to a deity, giving that over to a deity sounds fucking insane. Fuck no. I got out of religion already. Hell no. Right now I feel empowered by wanting like spiritual sovereignty and not wanting to worship anything. But I see how it happens. Like, people, I think especially after parenthood, after you become a parent and you realize like how much can get fucked up in parenthood and how much you start remembering and experiencing from your own life and your ancestors. And it's like, reproduction is such like a ancient thing. It's literally how anything ever happened, and it traces back so fucking long. I think when you have your own kids, or you're just like at reproductive ages, something ancient is being activated in you, and then you don't really have as much free will as you think, and life does what it does. So then the notion of you trying to take responsibility for your whole life and all the tragedy and injustice and sexual corruption and shit that happens, if you try to take responsibility for it, you'll literally fucking, who knows. So I think this is why a lot of people who I work with, their hardest times in life were usually before they had, or when they had kids, and all the shortcomings they had with raising their own kids, and the regret and shame and blurred boundaries and incest, not even meaning to like fall into that, but that's when they became religious and they want to hand their life over to God, and they're okay with the fact that they can't remember a lot. And I thought today, I learned a little bits about the nervous system, but I was listening to this lady who teaches about the nervous system, and she said that the mind-body connection, your body, your physical body, your sexual organs, your gut feeling, like your visceral body is communicating to your brain 80% of what is in your brain. And then information, like cognitive information, like reading and writing and teaching, that you take in through the brain, that you try to give to the body, the information the brain takes in and then gives to the body, only 20% of that even reaches the body. And I think about how as a global civilization, you ever see how like animals move in such a natural way compared to humans? I haven't seen, well, I know some dogs have anxiety and stuff, but like intelligent dogs, they have brains too. If you think about, we take in teachings about morality and religion and all these things we learn through our minds because someone sits us down and teaches and preaches to us. We take that in through our mind and try to overcome the body, the sexual drive, the drive for hunger. Ooh, try overpowering hunger, see what happens. Hunger, defecation, gut feelings, intuition, how your gut is like a second brain. There's like brain cells in the gut. How brain chemicals get secreted in the gut. Try taking, it's funny I say this while I'm talking. Try taking in religious teachings and morality and purity teachings and don't do this, blah blah blah, the body, the flesh is bad, blah blah blah. Try taking that in and actually convincing your body of that. And then the body is sending way more powerful messages to the mind. And so I think this is why people have a guilty conscience about a lot of things and a lot of cognitive dissonance, and we fight with ourselves all the fucking time. Like, I don't know if I bring this out of the people that I talk to, or if it's me and I only see what I know when I talk to people. But when I talk to like my clients and people I meet, I see the troubled like fighting with themselves. People open up to me about things that they really struggle with themselves with, and a lot of it does trace back to like some religious teaching or whatever, blah blah blah, that they're trying to follow, or some morality system, or things they think they should be ashamed about when they try to rationalize things mentally. When we try to overpower our biological urges or something, or we try to overpower the impact that our family, like tradition, has on us, or our culture, and we try to follow some overly strict morality code, and we can't just have compassion for ourselves and accept things. Like, you are one person. You're not going to change shit about shit on a global scale. And if you are on some kind of like movement, like sometimes I think to myself, I think like, damn, like I can change the fucking world. I can change the world. But really, I'm probably just on some movement that humanity is evolving into, because we're constantly evolving. I was just feeling the energy, and I felt it physically, like viscerally. I literally think the only way to survive this life without being completely fucking insane is to just kind of like have more acceptance when possible. And even forgiveness if possible. But the thing is that I think a lot of people who have been traumatized by others or have had our boundaries invaded, when that's happening, you can't sit there and say, oh, I forgive or dissolve. You need to put up as many hard boundaries as possible, be as avoidant as possible, try to get away from the predatory situation as much as possible, develop as many rigid mindsets that will try to force you to overcome the habitual, like the way that your body has started moving in certain situations, what your nervous system has signaled as safe, the things you will do to be safe and appease a predator, especially if it's your own family member. I think forgiveness and acceptance and stuff, it kind of comes after the fact, after the main torture of your life has been over. And I guess that's why the older people who I've spoken to when I work with clients and stuff, when they tell me about their lives, they can have compassion for themselves and insight and kind of just sink into their bodies and be okay, and even accept healthcare, because I do healthcare. And even accept somebody touching their arm to do blood pressure. Did I say pressure? Blood pressure. Or like whatever. Because they're not raising their kids anymore. There's no one fucking in their womb anymore. Nursing on them anymore. There's no more predatory partner molesting their kids. There's no more partner beating you. There's no more family. Your mother, your father, they're dead. Woohoo. They're dead. They're not over your shoulder anymore trying to manipulate you. Blah, blah, blah. And now things are more urgent. Like your teeth are falling out. Your bones are breaking. Now you can be in your body because you have to be. I started thinking also, like, I'm kind of, sometimes I don't know if I'm sexy or if I've just been sexually exploited my entire life to the point where I feel comfortable. Like, I don't wear underwear in public because I don't like a thong in my ass. But the way I can have a sexual demeanor. But yeah, I think I am just kind of like, I've always been told by adults that I'm beautiful, And I have been groomed by several adults when I was a child. So there is kind of a bit of confusion about how sexy I think I am, or how much of it was just like conditioning and stuff. But I accept at 27 years old, I am sexy to a lot of people. I have like it's my energy. It's nature. I'm 27 years old. I'm a 27-year-old fertile woman. All right. And I do get, I don't want to have children because I'm actually so disgusted by the human experience and how inherently traumatizing it is, and how I'm going to suffer. I've been suffering my whole life. It's going to be suffering my entire life, because there's just, existence is just kind of gross. It's unjust, it's corrupt, it's all fucked up, it's perverted, and I don't want to bring a child into this world and have them experience that shit. And it's also selfish because I don't want to accidentally become a monster if I become a mother. Like, if I had a pedophilic upbringing, if I had a religious fucked up upbringing, if I had a lot of abuse in my upbringing, why would I be so confident to think that just because I decided I don't want to do that, what's to make me think that anyone wanted to do that? What's to make me think that the trauma doesn't overtake you and you open up all kinds of old wounds you forgot about when you have your own child? Like, a child is literally coming out of the vagina. It's the vagina itself is an open wound. It's a portal, but it bleeds every month. It's kind of gross. Who's to say? And if you think of the act of birth, it is kind of monstrous. It's kind of like terrifying that a woman could do that. Like, who's to say that even if I decided I wanted to be a good mother, who's to say that it would actually pan out that way? So, like, I feel deeply emotional about my choice. Like, I don't want to have children, and sex leads to children. And I know I'm sexy, at least at this age. And so when I get sexual attention from people these days, I used to sometimes, or at least at first, I get kind of offended by it. Like, oh my God, that's so fucked up. Like they can't control it. Blah, blah, blah. But literally, even if people have good intentions and they don't mean to like make a move on me, because somebody can see me or get to know me and think, oh, it doesn't feel right. I don't think it would be right if I was attracted to her. Like, she doesn't blah, blah, blah. But if you try to overpower your hindbrain when it comes to reproductive urges, I think I have empathy for people now, because I understand, like, sexuality is the reason you exist. And even if you were dedicated to keep things clean, or like don't be attracted to people who said they don't want motherhood or whatever, your hindbrain is driven for it. Good luck talking to your subconscious or your reptile parts of your brain and body. Good luck. They're talking to you. 80% of the body is talking to your brain. Your brain's talking 20% to the body. Good luck. And there's no point in trying to repress like these primal desires for sex and reproduction. And on a primal level, sex is like always going to be driven for the sake of reproduction. Even if consciously you decide you want a condom or birth control, the act of sex is for reproduction, even if we try to play with it in certain ways. Like, good luck telling your ancient reptile way of existing that knows how to survive and will easily overpower you in most situations. Good luck telling it that you don't want to have kids. Good luck being in a presence like me, or a presence of a woman like me. And even if I'm talking about my life, I have fucking double D breasts. And I think I have compassion for people. Because if push came to shove and someone tried to rape me, I could just fucking kill them. I could stab them. Especially a man who on a DNA level wasn't genetically superior enough to the point where, like, my hindbrain would say, like, oh yeah, just let him ravage me in either way. Because I think we all have, like, this caveman and cavewoman mind, even if it's in the darkness of our subconscious a lot of the times. But I try to not take as much offense, or really, if I sit with myself for a minute, my knee-jerk response would be, like, when I get unwanted attention, like, ew, fuck them, or fuck no. But really, I understand. I have compassion for it. When I get hit on and stuff, the older I get, it's like, it sounds fucked up, like people must have no self-control, but literally sexual urges is like breathing. It's always there. You're always looking for it. Just like from a primal perspective, we're always looking for food. We're always going to be looking for water. We're always going to be looking for shelter. And we've survived like that for, I don't even want to say for like forever, how long humans have been alive, like 200,000 years that we've evolved into Homo sapiens or whatever. Before that, from whatever we evolved in. And this is why I kind of think, like, oh dear God, please let one of my siblings have children and carry on the bloodline, even if I don't want any kids to ever experience the torture of existence, because I don't want to have fucking kids. I don't want to. Ugh. And I swear, you think you're a good person until you have kids. And then it just like, You think you're doing all right until you have kids. I was sitting in the parking lot today after work for a minute, and I was just thinking, like, I block it out all the time, but literally all of existence is torture. It's disgusting. And no one would want to be alive if they knew what they were signing up for. Like, if you could look at whether you had a choice to exist before you decided to be born or whatever, and you saw what human nature is like and what existence is like, you would not have chosen to be fucking born. If you could see the totality of things. And so I think, like, I guess this is why people say, like, they're not suicidal, but they want to die. Because, no, your hindbrain will probably not let you die unless you convince yourself to do things on impulse or be on a drug or some crazy shit. But I see why people want to die, especially people who try to be religious. Like, they just want to get things over with because they feel like they can't trust themselves, that they're going to do something impure or fucked up, and they just want to die before they want God to take them home or whatever. I don't know what to do. I'm deeply disturbed by my family. But I look at my family. Oh, I had a covert pedophilic father. My mother was probably covertly pedophilic too, but she likes to do that thing where she marries a man who's overtly unlikable. Like, it's easy to pin him as a monster, so by comparison she looks like an angel, and then no one does shit to her because she's 5'2" and oh no, I would never, I'm a good woman. But she's, because of the fact that she's my mother, she's a fucking monster too. And then I look at their parents their parents, the laws were different. They could get away with so much more. My grandfather's mother died during childbirth, so he never even had a mother. Look at the fucking trauma that caused the bloodline. My grandmother came from the country with older brothers, 12 siblings. Who knows what fucking incest and rape she got tortured with. My mother's father was a Sicilian immigrant, and it's common knowledge, if you know how these things work, that incest is actually very common in immigrant families, especially immigrant families that have trouble outbreeding because of social shame, like Sicilians. That's also how they do gang initiations, by incest or some shameful sexual thing, so they can blackmail you into never speaking up because you'll look terrible. That's why a lot of gangs have gay men in it, and gay sex is one of the initiatory things in gangs. And that's why black men, if you ever go downtown or you live in a black area, that's why black men in gangs sag their pants so you can see their ass, because it's kind of like a silent way of saying that this black man is a bitch to some other black man in a gang. Anyway, I don't have any black ancestors, I don't think. One of my cousins is half black, though, because my cousin turned into a prostitute and she had sex with her pimp, and then she got hit by a car, and now she's dead. Anyway, my mother's father was an immigrant, and he had a heart attack because he smoked himself to death because Nana was so fucked up and abusive. And Nana was from the country, and I think her father molested her, and her mother died in childbirth too, so she didn't have a mother. Her father, there was no mother to protect her. Her father was very abusive, and she had to get raised by her grandmother, and then that trauma drew my parents together. And so even if they try to do better, I feel like a lot of people's ancestral trauma and the trauma that they endured from their parents really gets ripped open, and the wound just becomes active in a whole new way, and it becomes kind of excruciating when you have your own kids and you also depend on your parents to help you raise the child a lot of the times. And it's genetics as well. I think epigenetics is too easy to forget about. It's too easy to forget about the impact that epigenetics plays, and how whichever ways that your ancestors found to survive gets embedded in your DNA. And I think this is why it's so easy to carry on traditions in your family, even if the traditions are fucked up, and you learn how to mesh into your family system, no matter how immoral or unreligious it was, because that's how they survived. I think this is why alcoholism and tendencies towards aggression, even if it wasn't role modeled for you, it still is in the DNA, and it's too easy to activate it if you already have an inclination towards it. I think one of the reasons why I'm overly intellectual, and I tried like is because there's so much trauma and visceral body trauma I have, and so much. I started becoming really interested in school when I was like 18 because of sexual maturity, and I wanted to be in the mind, cerebral, like in school, being dignified and educated, because if I lived all in the body, or all based on what my family, like the ancestors and my local area, what do they do to 18-year-old girls? Sex, get naked, get fucked all the time, get drunk so you can get fucked more. Oh, here's your uncle, let him fuck you, everyone wants to fuck you. So it's not really a surprise to me that I've been have like an intellectual bent for most of my life, but really strongly in college. Ugh. And also why I don't want to lose weight. I don't want to lose weight because I already get sexual attention. I've always, even if I try to think like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to lose weight, oh, it's going to be so cool, the body says no. No, because weight protects me. Weight gives me more force. If I ever get abused or someone's ever coming at me, if I throw my weight around, I have a better chance of winning. I don't want to be small. I don't want to be small. Even if mentally I think I do. Anyway, I've just been really disturbed by this shit again. And I think me integrating things about the human experience and like my own past, it comes in waves. Like at first, the insight, the knowledge of things comes to the surface and it's very disturbing and gross. And I just can't fucking deal with it. I want to die because it's so fucked up. And then there's nothing to do. You can't escape. So I just kind of accept things. And try to forgive and have compassion for it. And then maybe things can be channeled in a wiser way. Maybe base urges and like maybe it can be channeled in a wiser way and integrated. Because when you try to get rid of something or like shame yourself or cut off certain parts of you or detach from a certain part of your body because you think it's evil, it always backfires. And then it just never ends. Everything I've said can be elaborated on so fucking much. Everything can be elaborated on. I can talk about mother and father wounds and how I think a man's mother wound will always be worse or have the potential to be so much worse than a girl's father wound. A man's mother wound, because you were in your mother's womb. You don't have that same kind of connection with your father because he didn't birth you. And I think there was also another 80-20 study that said that babies need their mother 80% more than they need their father. And I think this is why a lot of incest, a mother can sink her hooks into you deeper and much easier than a father can, because you were literally, she didn't fully create you, but her body did all the work. She knows you like from her womb. And so when things get corrupt or there's abuse or incest or just it's just so and I don't want to have a kid. I don't want to do that to a kid. I don't want to be the reason why someone's walking around with a mother wound. And once the trauma has happened, once you've experienced something in your childhood, and a lot of people are just set up to do it before you even got born. You were set up to experience certain traumas just because of the culture or the time or the family you were born into. Like, once you've experienced the trauma, you've experienced it, and there it is, always. And even when you try to like handle it in certain ways, you still have that trauma and you'll never really be free of it. I'm gonna end this because I'm almost home, but I also think of the thing that the nervous system lady said, that We can experience what they call post-traumatic growth, where we experience a trauma and then strangely we become, it's not even strange, we become more resilient and more intelligent and more empathetic and have a deeper capacity for a lot of things. And more creative because we experienced that trauma. And I say it's not strange because and sometimes I think post-traumatic growth can happen decades after the trauma, when before it was like fucking up your whole life. Maybe you found a social support network. Maybe you found an outlet. Maybe your brain finally developed in your mid-20s, and maybe now you can process the trauma again in a new way. Like, I don't ever think we're totally doomed, even though we experience so much fucked up shit, and literally your stream of consciousness can be constantly traumatizing when you've existed, basically. And I think for a while, especially when you experience things at a very young age and you're not mature, I think we can really be tortured by trauma for a while, and then it's when we've reached like actual maturity, which may be beyond the 30s, that we can start to process things again. We can start to digest through things. And I think we have to digest through our lives several times. And you never leave the past behind. I hate that fucking shit I hear that says, just leave the past behind, just let it go. Just move on, move out, just break up. And I've tried to convince myself of that several times too, but I fucking hate that shit, because literally we're obsessed with the past. Of course we are, because we're trying to survive, and we need to know what happened before so we know what to do again, what not to do again. Yeah, I think we'll process our traumas many times over and over again. And I think post-traumatic growth will come in waves. And even if it seems like we are doomed because we experienced something, we probably just need to grow and give it time and wait a while and let ourselves live more. And we'll probably be able to process it and digest it in a new way. And our bodies, not just our minds, but our bodies and our emotions become more seasoned and resilient. And then we may have post-traumatic growth later. Even if it seems like for a while we were just fucking screwed and we were gonna be destroyed by it. Damn. I have to go eat dinner.